Okay, let's continue. Now take note, we need to get this angle, so that, take note, if you try to see this angle here, okay, so we need to get this angle. We will call this as theta sub 3. So the safest way, again, as I have advised you, to use cosine law. Okay, cosine law, and then come up with theta 3. So to come up with theta 3, you have to use what? Since d sub 1 is known, so you can use d sub 1, then come up with theta sub 3. So how? We have this. So we will not do first the r. So d sub 1 squared equivalent to the remaining sides. We have d sub 1, remaining sides of the second parallelogram is 200 and d sub 2. So we have 200 squared plus d sub 2 squared minus 2 times 200 times d sub 2 cosine opposite to d sub 1. What is it? Theta sub 3. Okay, this one. So that is theta sub 3, which is to be determined. So from that, we can transfer this on the other side, this one here, for this term to become positive, ending up with this. Such that your cosine theta sub 3 now is just equivalent to 200 squared plus d sub 2 squared minus d sub 1 squared all over 2 times 200 times d sub 2, ending up with theta sub 3 equivalent to 45.996 5118 degrees. Take note, this is now the angle for this, and it happened that with that theta 3, if you try to see from here extending 300 downward, which is actually this length parallel to this side, which is this one. So this 300, it happened that your theta 3 can immediately be used to solve for r. This one, opposite to that. So this is the third polygon. The third parallelogram is this one. Okay, so we have the third parallelogram. We have to make it as the entire figure. This is now the third parallelogram. It happened that if with this theta 3, opposite to that is immediately your r. Then we can solve for r now. Solving for r. So r squared equivalent to the remaining sides, we have d sub 2 squared plus 300 squared. Am I right? Going to the figure again. We try to see. This is your r. The remaining sides are 300 and d sub 2. See that? So we can get r. Going back to the solution now. Minus 2 times d sub 2 times 300 cosine opposite to that r. Opposite to r is what? Opposite to r, we have theta sub 3. Theta sub 3. Okay, this one. Theta sub 3. Okay. So going back to the solution. So this must be theta sub 3. So we can get your r. Take note, this is already known. This is already known. We have your d sub 2, which is here. Here's 1, d sub 2, we have 3, theta sub 3, so it's already solved, which is this 45.9965. So we can solve for r, ending up with 337.4337 33 newtons. Exactly the same with the previous solution we had. By component method, we have your R, exactly the same, which is this. We also have R, this one, of the closed polygon method. So how shall we find theta R? How? So you notice the same approach we had a while ago in the closed polygon method. Notice we need to get this angle, right? How would that be possible? So looking into this triangle, one half of the parallelogram, okay, we can solve this angle. It is expected that it should also have more than 90 degrees, okay? Take note of the theta sub 2, this one rather, okay? It shall form more than 90 degrees because the 90 degrees is only here, okay? To that line. So this is actually the horizontal line. So we still have a little angle here, which is actually your theta r, which is this one. Okay, so going back to this figure now, so we will try to find out that should be 94. We will try to see. We will call this as theta sub 4. Okay, which we will expect that is more than 90 degrees. How shall we do this? This is theta sub 4, so we need to, your theta sub 4 now is actually located opposite to d sub 2, right? Okay, look, opposite to d sub 2 yung theta sub 4. So don't get confused. Ito, this is the first parallelogram. Don't mind on this, we are true on this. We are now dealing with d sub 2, the second to the last parallelogram, which is this forms part of the sides of the third parallelogram, d sub 2. Opposite to that is theta sub 4. So we could solve theta sub 4 by cosine law. So solving now by cosine law, theta sub 4 opposite to that is d sub 2. So d sub 2 squared, the remaining sides are 300 squared plus r squared minus 2 times 300 times r cosine theta sub 4, which is to be defined. Okay, here we go. So next, we can solve this, transfer this term on the other side of the equation, ending up this expression on the left member of the equation. Such that your cosine theta 4 term will be this one, expression. So theta sub 4 then. Take note, these are known, r is known already, and d sub 2 squared. Okay? So what is your theta sub 4? So your theta sub 4 ended up with a value of 94 degrees, 0.2488, 584 degrees. Now notice your theta sub 4 is